So you mentioned staffing, forecasting.
Yeah.
Is labor arbitrage a dirty word? Like, I feel like sometimes when I bring it up, people kind of look at me like, all right, where are you going with this? It's a composite of two words that are fairly innocuous and not very, contentious. But when put together, labor and arbitrage, people get a little bit nervous. And in the contact center, you're constantly struggling to get better. It's like, there's never of like, hey, we're great. It's always a struggle. But like, these people become your family, and labor arbitrage has connotations that are nasty. I want to kind of talk about it because this is a little nugget of strategy that can be something that is very positive for the business, and positive for the people in the business. So not just the business for the customer, but for the people in the business.
Absolutely. And I don't think labor arbitrage should be a dirty word as we think about where we are with just the overall macroeconomic conditions today. We've got more people leaving the workforce than entering the workforce. So
True.
with the boomers continuing to leave, and it's interesting. I was thinking about this even last night, just in terms of, the pandemic definitely threw us a curveball.
Yes.
And so I think we've attributed a lot of labor shortages to the pandemic, but I'm not sure that that's the root cause. I mean, certainly there were some people that left the workforce then, but at the same time, boomers were retiring and they continue to retire. And so but there's still part of the population that needs to be served. And so we've got this more population that needs to be served than are within the workforce today. And so we've got to do something.
Right.
And so I think it's important as we think about alternate words to labor arbitrage. If labor arbitrage is a dirty word, I mean, it's career pathing, right? It's this growth mindset of continue to level up.
That's right.
Like, don't be happy with where you are today. And maybe this is me, Frank, but I'm never happy with where I am. I always want change. I always want to do something a little different, or and so I think that's the key is this career pathing and growth mindset. And in a contact center, especially, it's absolutely critical for our agents. I think the majority of them don't want to stay and be an agent for 20 years. That's not their career goal.
There's opportunity in all this because, inside of a contact center, depending upon what they do, right? It could be something that's more like revenue generating. It could be something that's more about adoption or advocacy for the customer. But a lot of times they know a ton about the company and they know a ton about the product and the services. They know they have to set expectations. Like, there's this lovely little tub of knowledge sitting out there in these people. And yet inside the business, people are saying, we don't have enough people on the business development side, or like, we don't have enough people in our professional services group. Like, their budgets are damped down. Right. And I believe that there is this great, like, repositioning, almost like a reshuffling of the business to have your contact center right-sized, meeting your customers where they are, solving their problems, getting them to solutions that they need. And at the same time, taking these people that know pretty much more about your company than a lot of people inside the company and putting them into positions frontline to get more customers and keep customers. It just seems to make sense to me that, like, there almost should be like a chief labor arbitrage officer inside the business that's just sitting down going, who do I have? How do I start mixing this around? Forget about command and control, forget about chain of command, forget about people's budgets, forget about disrupting internally. Sometimes people need to be moved off of their center and just move things around for the betterment of the business.
Yes, completely agree. And again, going back to the short staffedness of the contact center, we're going to continue to see that as a headwind for years to come. As you think about just the overall pay for a contact center agent and what else they could do for that same amount of pay, it's definitely not a glorious job, to say the least. So if you're able to do something else and not deal with the emotions of customer support and some of the drain and grind, certainly people look at that. So I think, automation is here to stay with that. We're going to to see shrinkage, like you mentioned in the contact center, but these are valuable folks for sure, and they do have a wealth of knowledge to share across the business. So yeah, I think that there's some great opportunity here, and I think that I really like your idea of having that labor arbitrage role within the organization.
It's a real opportunity for us to up-level our game and to up-level the conversation, right? Like conversation to become more nuanced, as we go through that left brain thinking and we're cranking out the ROI and the numbers don't lie. There's also a very personal conversation that be had with the people that have people working inside their business and they want the best for those people. And how do they work through this process? So